getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Nice to have you with us. We're off to, I think, a rip-roaring start here this morning.
Rip-roaring.
On the Morning Drive. Yes, sir. Rip-roaring. I mean, we've heard from Tech Mom 2. We've heard from Pepsi Man. We've heard from Bullfighter. We've heard from PJ on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. And now from Banjo Bob. So, I mean, it's like, I think everybody's gathered around the campfire. So
it's like it's game week or something.
It's like it's game week or something. That's right. Banjo Bob asked me this: Chuck, did they make you follow the rules, or did they let you get your entire cartload of merchandise signed by Coach McGuire? He's the one guy we didn't get an autograph from, me and the young phenom, because the young phenom had already gotten his autograph. I went and got the young phenom one of those nice autograph balls, and I'll tell you, that was a great event. Meet the Red Raiders on Saturday at the Sports Performance Center. I mean, it was just could not have been a better event. The players were very, very gracious with all the kids there, and I mean, they were all together. Some of them by position group. Probably that's because where their buddies are. You know, like the linebackers were all together, the D linemen were all together, the receivers were all together, and so he and I had kind of running commentary throughout the whole thing. I mean, I would tell him about so and so. Like we got to Austin McNamara.
Please tell me you're talking about the young phenom and not Coach McGuire.
No, I'm talking about the young phenom.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, we did not even talk to Coach McGuire. We didn't bother him. We left him alone on Saturday.
That's a little off-brand for you.
Yeah, he was the one that we left alone. Well, he had a long line, and we'd had plenty of interaction with him over the last few days, and so it's probably good of us to give him a break. Okay, we'd already gotten he'd already gotten his autograph, so he didn't need it. He didn't need another one. Not when there was a whole bunch of people there and all that. But so anyway, we got to Austin McNamara, and like, this guy's going to be punting on Sunday. He's going to be punting in the NFL.
Nice.
Yeah. And I said, I bet you he can punt the length of the field. And he's like, he's like, yeah, you did 80. One of his buddies said, hey, you did 80. So not that we hope that he has to punt at the length of the field. That would be bad. Especially if it was Saturday. But I mean, the players were, like I said, they could not have been more gracious, more accommodating. And you could say, well, they had to be there, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I think you can tell, you get to a certain age in life, you can tell when somebody wants to be there or when somebody has to be there, right? You know, sure. when you have to be at an event or when you want to be in an event. And they were there for an hour, and they were all, you know, with their jerseys on and had great penmanship, you know, with their autographs and things like that. But they had the quarterbacks at an end zone, all four of them. Okay, they had the walk-on plus the three guys, and so they were all together. So they all looked to be in good spirits.
That's good news.
Okay, they all looked to be in good spirits. So that was a lot of fun. Got to see, you know, quite a few people out there. So that was fun as well. So now we head to Saturday, and we'll be getting you ready for that all weekend long. Saw this news this morning with regard to the Dallas Cowboys. They're working on their cuts, right? Getting down to the 53-man roster. They don't play for a while, so it's going to be one of those deals where this. I'm sure this roster is somewhat in flux, but a guy that already has been cut, and who knows if he'll be brought back to the practice squad. But T.J. Vasher cut.
Man. Disappointing. Great start to camp, and clearly not as good of a finish.
Right. So this one of the guys that tweeted this out, Michael Gelkin, he's a reporter. He said Cowboys have waived wide receiver T.J. Vasher. Person familiar with the decision said Vasher has rare length, 84 and 3/8 inch wingspan. Think about that, from fingertip to fingertip. When you put them out, you know, left to right.
I get it.
84 plus inches. And then they said he had the catch of training camp, but that's been the knock on him, is he can have the catch of the day, and then the routine ones or other things that you want him to do.
That sounds like a perfect description of his career here at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, highlight reel catch, but then just didn't finish it up with the consistency of doing the little things and making the simple catches too.
So he may be a guy that picks up with somebody else, or they may be a guy that could go back to him and say, hey, we're going to sign you to the practice squad, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Other cuts, and it won't disappoint you as much as TJ Vasher, but Ben DiNucci is out as well. Not that he was going to be a franchise quarterback, but he's been cut. And it appears...
So the backup quarterback will be?
Will Greer.
Okay.
Okay. Cooper Rush and he have been kind of in a battle for that, but that's what it appears to be, is that Cooper Rush will be the backup to Dak Prescott. But man, no matter no matter what you do there, if you're getting down to Will Greer or Cooper Rush, then you got a big problem.
You do.
And that may be where, if Dak were to get injured or something along those lines, somebody at some point in time that needs a quarterback is going to be calling the San Francisco 49ers for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sure. You probably could say the same thing about, I don't want to say all, but maybe half of the teams in the league.
No doubt.
If they lose their starting quarterback,
no doubt.
Their season just completely turns.
I mean, let's face it. Chiefs lose Patrick Mahomes. It's Chad Henne's not Patrick Mahomes.
What?
It's just news alert.
And I said what? It wasn't about what you said. It was that Chad Henne's still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that.
He's still alive.
Had no idea.
Did you think he was dead or something?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
I just didn't know he was still in the league.
Yeah. So he's got that going. So there you go. That's a little bit of a problem. What did you think of Nebraska and Northwestern? Man, Scott Frost.
Fun game. The old onside kick.
Man, I just like, who's whispering in his ear? I mean, goodness gracious. You're up 11, coach. You're up 11, and you decide, now's the time. Hey, we're going to do the secret onside kick. They're up 28-17. Northwestern, they're smart kids. I mean, dumb people don't go, even those that are more athletic than others, okay? Dumb people don't go to Northwestern. And they figured that out really, 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 really quick. And they snuffed it out and then converted with a 44-yard drive and a touchdown. And the lead was 4, and they never looked back.
Yeah, that whole saying about, well, if that move works, we're calling that coach a genius. And in this situation, you're like, what in the world are you doing? No, I don't. I'm with you, Chuck. I don't think I am either. I mean, up 11, I think you have the ability there to be a little bit more conservative, and play it a little bit safer instead of going for the gusto.
It's early in the third quarter, too.
I mean, what are we doing? Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's not like, okay, well, all we have to do is play solid defense. We're going to run the clock out.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of time left. But
sure.
I don't know. That, screams to me. I have no confidence in our defense, and we've got to steal a possession here and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I would tell you if I was a football coach, I would probably be one of the more conservative ones. Okay? And so, you call that a fault or a flaw of mine, whatever.
No.
I think some people are just more riverboat gamble-esque than I am. I'm not that guy as much, but I don't know. That seemed like a crazy decision there. Just crazy.
You can go get your popcorn. If you were the coach, you can go get your popcorn. Hey, go get your popcorn. It'll be all right. You're not going to miss anything, right?
Yeah, sure.
Scott Frost now 5-21 in one-score games. He will not make the whole season. At some point in time, Nebraska is going to say, man, we have given you and given you and given you and given you an opportunity.
getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Time for this day in sports history. It is the 29th day of October, 2022. Here with this day in sports history is Jeff McGuire.
I'm going to start in 1925 because Babe Ruth, after spending a night mowing his yard in the rain, after spending a night on the town, showed up late for batting practice. Miller Huggins suspends Ruth and slaps him with a $5,000 fine.
Ooh, that was probably a big one back in the day.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money now.
What year was that again?
This was 1925.
Wow.
1937, Major League Baseball Phillies A's Bob Johnson is the second player to get 6 RBI in an inning. This time it was in the first inning.
Wow.
That's a rough first inning for somebody. Mm-hmm. And a really good one for somebody else. 1950, in a no-way political move, in no way, shape, or form. We don't even have to think about the politics of this. The International Olympic Committee votes to admit West Germany and Japan in 1952. No way political. 1965, Willie Mays sets a National League record for home runs in a month with his 17th of August. 1977, Major League Baseball St. Louis Cardinal Lou Brock eclipses Ty Cobb's 49-year-old career stolen base record of 893 as the Padres win 4-3 over the Cardinals.
I remember that, and Lou Brock was, he was just absolutely terrific. Of course, he came to the Cardinals from the Cubs. But then he would be surpassed by the Wizard, right? Ozzie Smith and Ricky Henderson broke his record, right? But just in terms
as
of
famous Cardinal,
as famous Cardinals,
maybe I'm willing to listen to that debate. I think Pujols has passed both of them.
Okay. Obviously, Ozzy's a shortstop, and Brock, I think, was the second baseman.
Right.
We're just going off of who we think is the most popular.
Who's the better player? Who's more effective?
I think if you're going better player, you have to go Pujols.
Yeah. And then Brock.
Just because Ozzy wasn't he was a spectacular defensive shortstop, but he wasn't the offensive weapon that Albert Pujols is, or was. If you were just asking like who's the fan bases loves the most, I think I would probably pick Ozzy. But I think if you're talking about who's a better player, I think you have to go Pujols.
Okay.
Even though, you'd probably put Ozzie Smith like top 3 defensive shortstops in the history of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hard not to.
Yeah, and it's, being a really good defensive shortstop's important, but man, Pujols' numbers are hard to ignore. I don't know what Ozzy's career batting average was, but I bet it was below 300. Probably had less than 20 home runs in his career.
Yeah, but can Albert Pujols backflip?
Yes. What's that?
Can Albert Pujols backflip out to shortstop?
That's a great point, Jeff.
I'm just saying. 1987, Nolan Ryan.
They have Lou Brock listed as a left fielder.
Yeah, I thought he was an outfielder.
Yeah, he's an outfielder. So I was way wrong about that.
1987, Nolan Ryan passes the 200 strikeout barrier for a record 11th time in his career. And in 2018, star quarterback Aaron Rodgers signs an NFL record contract extension with the Green Bay Packers. 4 years for $134 million, rising to a possible $180 million, with a record $103 million in guarantees.
And what would he make today?
I don't even want to know.
Yeah. He'd be north of...
Double that?
He'd be north of Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes,
Well,
right?
Aaron Rodgers can't be north of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's true.
That is physically impossible.
That's true.
He'd be north of the
beside
134,
himself,
though.
but he can't be above himself.
Yeah, he can't be above himself.
That's a different deal.
Yeah.
It is National Chop Suey Day.
I'm completely out.
I'm not sure I've ever had it.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm surely not going to eat it. What is suey?
It's a an Oriental dish. I don't even know.
Okay, I
how
knew
it's
that
made.
part.
I don't even know how it's made.
I just assumed it was more raw fish.
A couple of Red Raider birthdays today. One of them has their number retired at the baseball field. Clint Bryant turns 49 today.
Wow.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
And somebody who isn't having such a great birthday today, TJ Vasher, turns 24 today.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
Noah Syndergaard is 29. Roy Oswalt, 45. Elliot Gould, 85.
Elliot Gould.
And Rebecca De Mornay is 63.
Who's Elliot Gould?
He's just an actor that, I mean, he played in a lot of different,
Have you seen Ocean's 11?
Don't think so.
Okay. That's the movie I literally watched last night.
Okay. I'll just Google it.
Capricorn 1, have you seen that?
I've not seen Capricorn 1.
Okay. He's in that. O.J. Simpson's in that.
I recognize him.
Yeah, he's done
Yeah,
an enormous amount of work.
I recognize him. Yeah.
He's not quite a character actor, like in the definition of a character actor where he always plays the same character, but you could definitely call him a specific type of character actor.
Mm-hmm. Chop suey is a Chinese cuisine consisting of meat, usually chicken, pork, beef, shrimp, or fish. Eggs cooked quickly with vegetables such as bean sprouts, cabbage, and celery, and bound in a starch-thickened sauce, typically served with rice. I mean,
Okay.
I like chicken, I like pork, and I like beef, and I like shrimp, but I don't like it all in like a suey, especially with bean sprouts and cabbage. Okay.
And on this day in 2005, not a good day. In fact, a really bad day, especially if you were in New Orleans. As Hurricane Katrina makes landfall near New Orleans, Louisiana, a Category 3 hurricane. Despite being only the third most powerful storm of the 2005 season, Katrina was among the worst natural disasters in the history of the United States. And that is this day in sports history.
Okay, so $5,000, which Babe Ruth was fined on this day in 1925, that comes out to, in today's world, $84,650.29.
So that's a good chunk of change.
That's a good chunk of change, right? It's a good chunk of change. Syntax Hank says chop suey was invented in New York. It's an American Chinese food dish, lots of ingredients. Yeah, I got no interest in that. And a couple people have reminded us that Elliot Gould was in the original MASH movie.
I just saw that he was in MASH.
Yeah, the original movie. And somebody else points out that Lou Brock played left field.
I can hear him in it, but I can't remember who he played. Like, I can hear his voice. Was he Trapper?
He was what? I believe you're right on that.
He was Trapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that.
Wow, I'm glad they mentioned that. That's a movie I have to watch again.
I would have bet my only $1 that Lou Brock played second base, and I don't know why.
I thought you had $2.
I got to save one.
Oh, okay.
I got to have one. You know, got to have one for my second last $1, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I had in my mind that he played second base. But I'm gonna cite the lack of television when Lou Brock was playing, and also the fact that his best years were right before I really started watching. You know, had awareness.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, but I still probably should have known that. Mike Gustafson will make me run up downs later on today.
You and I could each take our baseball knowledge and multiply them together and not get to Gus. So, yeah.
Well, oh, yours is pretty good. 6:54 this morning here on the morning drive. We'll get to this a little bit later, but still no Josh Young. Although I think he's really close to getting called up. Speaking of Texas Tech baseball and guys that
still holding out hope that it comes sometime early next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, they can only bring up another couple of guys. It's not like back in the day when, you know, you'd expand your roster to, 30 or 40 guys, and you'd have, you need almost an extra dugout for all the guys that you called up. I think that they can only expand to like 28. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, even still getting called up after September 1 will be a significant accomplishment. And obviously they want him to come up and stay up at some point in time, not go back and forth. Okay. 6:55 this morning on the Morning Drive. We'll talk Red Raider football next as Texas Tech gets ready for Murray State on Saturday night. Optimum Game Day live coverage at 7 a.m. The kick at 7 here on Double T 97.3.
Big plays and even bigger laughs. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3.
Nice to have you with us this morning. Hope you're off to a great start today. So we've made quick work, I think, of the month of August. I realize there's, today plus 2 more. It feels like it's essentially over. So, I mean, if you didn't hit your number, sorry about you. It's on you. If you did, congratulations. It's on to September, October, November, December. Start thinking about 2023. Can't get too far ahead of yourself, though, right?
Yeah, we're jumping ahead. I mean, we still got September,
October,
November,
December.
So 2/3 of the way through.
Got 4 months left, right? And all of football season. Let's see. Here's my question, and this may seem like we've had part of this discussion before, but here's my question to everybody, and you too, Mr. Lent. What does a successful Texas Tech football season look like to you? And some people might term that in terms of wins and losses. Some may term that in terms of how the team looks or plays or competitive. But what does a successful, in your mind, football season look like to you?
Well, I think it has to be at least 5 wins, no matter what. Can't be any less than that. I just think that a successful season would be that, at least 5, and your team shows up every week. Don't look like at times to be an unmotivated bunch, and to see a team that's not shooting themselves in the foot, whether it's done by the players or done by the coaches. I think those are the things that kind of jump out to me. I mean, I just want to see, a team that's ready to play every Saturday and feels like, we don't go into games and like the game in Austin last year where you're halfway through the first quarter and you're like, this is over and going to be ugly. And so now just take your medicine. Just sit here and take it for the next 3 hours. And so, I mean, you could probably go back to just a little more simpler and say, for Tech football to be fun again. I mean, for a few years, that's what I've been saying, man. I just want it to be fun again.
Yeah.
Saturdays to be fun again. And not having feeling of, man, I mean, what are we going to do this time to mess it up? But instead be like, hey, I know we're a big underdog here, but I think we got a shot. That feeling of, yeah, we may be, favored to lose this thing by 13, but I think we got something for them. I mean, that feeling of hope, and like, hey, man, we're going to shock the world today. Like, to be a rosy red glasses, just a homer, to give us the feeling of wanting to be a homer again. Because for the last few years, and it's more than one regime, it was like, man, this isn't going to go well. This isn't going to go well.
When's the last time you felt like you had fun?
I don't know. I mean, there's been games along the way that are fun. I tell you what, I can't remember the last time I had more fun than watching us beat Mississippi State in that bowl game last year.
No, I think there's a lot. I think that's fair for so many different reasons. Like you said, I think there have been times when it was fun. The end of the Iowa State game, that was fun.
Sure. Sure.
That was fun. But when you kind of go into a game and you're really not feeling like, well, we don't have a snowball's hell and chance of winning this game. Chance, something like that, right?
Something like that.
We don't have How about we just don't have a chance? How about we leave out all the the adjectives,
Yes.
the vernacular. Just say, well, we just don't have a chance to win this game. And I think too, it'd be great for people to stay the whole game, or if you're bored, it's bored because you're up 63-7. Okay, something along those lines.
That's a good kind of board.
That's a good kind of board, right? You're just sitting there and you're enjoying it. And the whole shooting yourself in the foot, or like what are we doing down there? I think everything that you said makes a lot of sense.
I have expectations of 6-6, but we'll have to see what this conference looks like this year. I mean, I feel like I think you have the potential to be better than 6-6, but I'm not going to sit here today and say 5-7 is a failure or anything like that, because if the conference turns out that we've got good teams in there and you're competitive but young, and I mean you're not super young, you just don't have. I think it's easy to look and see what we have done in recruiting and feel like, hey, the future is bright. So you're accepting of, even though 5-7 will be disappointed, you could see this program is heading in the right direction. I remember the first year with Coach Wells, and this is interesting. The first year with Coach Wells, you asked me the question, and my answer then was, I just want to know we have the right guy. Like we know this program's heading in the right place because we got the right guy here. Okay? And at the end of that first year, I don't think we knew that. And I don't think we ever did. I'm not saying at the end of the first year we were like, this is the wrong guy. I wasn't saying that either. I'm just saying I don't know yet. And as it turned out, we never did know until we knew that it was the wrong way.
Yeah, we found out we had the wrong guy.
Yeah. I feel, and this is somewhat unfair, it's just me, I'm already saying to myself, I think we have the right guy. And I think that because, man, he has just killed it recruiting. Just killed it. And, man, that's how you win football games. You recruit great players, and you have great players. It ain't all about the X's and O's. It's more about the Jimmies and Joes, and I believe in that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just believe already, and this is blind faith, we've got the right guy. I mean, everything about him we love. He hasn't coached a single down yet. I was talking to somebody in the athletic department on Friday at the luncheon, Chuck, and they said, in a way, this football season starting is the worst thing that could happen to Joey McGuire. He's done nothing wrong. Right. Everybody loves him. He's batting 1,000.
No, we want more offseason. That's what Coach McGuire is saying.
He's done nothing wrong. He's gotten everything right.
That is well said.
The worst thing that could happen is they play a game.
Yeah. To answer this question in a different way, and this kind of goes with what Jamie was talking about earlier about not shooting yourself in the foot. I don't want to wake up Sunday after a Saturday game deflated. I can walk away on Sunday after a loss and be like, you know what, lost to a better team.
Sure.
That's perfectly acceptable.
I'm with you on that one, Jeff.
To wake up on Sunday and be like,
we beat ourselves.
What the blank just happened?
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here today?
How many times did we say that?
More times than I would like to admit.
5, 6, 7 years. Gosh.
Yeah.
That will be a success.
To the point where at the end of it, again, I said I was numb. It's like, yeah, that happened. Yep. Or I guess this would say I wasn't numb, but the Texas game. Yeah, this is going to hurt when we blow it.
Yeah.
Because you just knew it was going to happen.
The one 2 years ago, right? You
just knew it was going to happen.
Well,
and K-State happened last year, and I was like, yep, that happened. Just keep pounding that nail into us Red Raider fans. Just keep kicking us right in the... Just kick away.
I got to admit, during the Texas game, I was pretty fired up. I wasn't thinking how we were going to blow it. I was thinking about how how great the post game was going to be, and everybody's Christmas card was going to be the double.
You were trying to make the catch in the outfield and get in the picture for the Texas Rangers. That's what you were trying to do, and look what that got you.
I know.
Right. I know.
A pie in the face, right?
I guess that makes me a bad Red Raider, but I had lost faith.
No, I had
lost faith, and at a certain point last year, I had lost the ability to allow it to affect my emotions with Tech football. Mm-hmm. It's like I can't do this to myself anymore.
That'd be a good question for Coach McGuire. Hey, how disappointed are you to see football season start because you've done everything right? Everybody loves you. No, we need more off season. It's been the longest runway for a coach, I think, in the history of ever. When you think back to November the 8th or so of last year to where we are coming up on Saturday and his first football game. All right. Jamie's got a question for the rest of us, Jeff and I and you. Next here this morning on the Morning Drive.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
All right, fire away.
All right, Chuck, Jeff, and our fine listening audience. Today's question is about Saturday's home opening football game. Mm-hmm. And this one could have answers from all over the place.
I like it. So there's no wrong answer.
No wrong answer unless it's depending on the second Monday of game week.
It's just a week from today.
Today's...
I'm sorry, you set me up. I just couldn't resist.
Today's question is about Saturday's football game, and I just want to know what you are looking for the most heading into the game. What are you anxious to see? What are you intrigued by? What are you wondering about? What are you saying to yourself, on Saturday I'll be able to have a better idea or this, or I'll find out about that? What are you intrigued by for this Saturday?
I'm intrigued to see if the defense can do the +3 thing. In other words, can you get 3 more turnovers than what your offense turns it over? I'm curious if your defense can put pressure on the quarterback like has been touted, because you should be able to against a Murray State. I mean, Tyree Wilson et al. Should be in the backfield all day long to the point where they're handing out sack lunches, okay? And I feel like that you should be able to create...
I see what you did there with the sack lunch. That was good.
Turnover after turnover after turnover to the point where, Pillsbury Doughboy's saying, enough. Ooh, I've had enough. Ooh.
Okay.
A well-prepared team across the board, offense and defense. I don't want to see guys stumbling around. I don't want to see guys not knowing what players they're supposed to be in. I want to see a team executing what they need to be executing. That is what I am looking forward to. Because if the defensive line is dominant against Murray State, that tells me nothing. If the offensive line is shoving everybody around and treating them like rag dolls, that tells me nothing this week. But if they are executing the plays, if they are running the right formation, running the right plays out of formations, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's going to be a good sign for the future.
Okay, both good answers, I think. I'm a little embarrassed by my answer.
Okay.
I've kind of gone for like the last month, kind of making fun of Chuck being obsessed with the quarterback position.
You want to see what the package is for Baron Morton? Is that what you want to see?
Well, that's it. That's an interesting one. That's a good answer. That was not going to be my answer.
Okay.
I have this in my mind of what Tyler Shuck was last year. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was okay. I thought it was solid. I wasn't uber impressed. And so I want to see what Tyler Shuck is. And I know he's playing against Murray State. I get it. Okay. Just like Jeff's talking about, the level of competition is not the highest you're going to face or anything like that. But I want to to refresh my memory, so to speak, of who Tyler Shuck is, and is he a guy that I want to know? I want to see what the coaches saw and to say, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that we like over Barron and over Donovan.
Will you know that close of business on Saturday? I mean, or you just feel like you'll have a better feel for that?
No, I don't think I'll be 100% certain of it. No, I think that, well, it's just like anything else. You could probably have an idea of it negatively.
If it goes poorly.
Yeah,
right?
not
Okay.
positively,
Yeah.
right? Because you're just going to say, well, it's Murray State. Let's see what he can do against a real defense, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no, that's fair, but I just want to see the skill set. I want to see what those coaches saw, and so I'm intrigued by Tyler Shuck and his performance.
Somebody else says this, Shuck never, quote, wowed me in his appearances last year. I want to see that. Not essential, but I like to see it. Kind of expected it last year. Yeah,
and I think that's well said, all that, but all the above there. I mean, it is Murray State, so wow me.
Yeah. This person says, fundamentals, are we wrapping up? Finishing place? Is there good communication? Is Tyler in sync? Another off the Yates Flooring Center chat line says, I'm most interested to see Zach Kitley's offensive scheme.
Oh, that's a good one.
And how successful it will be.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm curious how much different it is from what we saw last year. This is a good one, but you're not gonna say it's a good one. I'm curious as to whether our new coach is a hat, no hat, or visor guy on the sideline.
Okay.
I think I will ask him today what his role will be on game day on the sideline. In other words, what you got Zach Kitley, he's calling the plays. You got Tim DeRuyter, he's calling the defensive plays. What are you going to do? Right? I mean, is that
Why are we paying you?
Well, no, it's not why are we paying you. Raider 316 says, I want to see pre-snap penalties disappear. Oh, man, from your lips to God's ears. And then back down to the players.
Said every football fan in the history of ever, right? Pre-snap penalties drive everyone nuts.
Yep. Without question.
Think back to last year. You got a better memory than me. Was that a big problem last year?
I think it's been a problem.
I thought our penalties have gone down though. It seems like we've done a better job with that.
Okay. This went to the autograph event on Saturday. Donovan Smith is very personable, made all the fans feel welcome. I didn't see that as much with Shuck. Okay. He was sitting at the end. He was nice. He was very. I thought he was very nice. Donovan had a big smile. So did Baron Morton. Especially when I said to the young phenom, "Okay, the guy over there that I told you could punt the length of the field. This guy can throw the length of the field."
Which one?
Baron Morton.
Okay.
I didn't get any disagreement from him.
Okay. I mean, like Patrick Mahomes can't throw the length of the field, right?
He can throw the ball out of the stadium.
He can't throw the length of the field.
Well, probably. I might have been embellishing just a little bit.
Okay.
Just
just a little bit.
10 to 15 yards maybe.
He can throw it a long way.
Throw it a long way. Not that we're trying to.
So we're 100% on Barron has the strongest arm.
No, I don't know. I mean,
I've heard some of that.
I mean, I've
heard some of that.
I mean, I can't sit here and say I've had a passing competition with the three of them, and I don't know that would be like, embraced by the offensive coordinator or the head coach. Hey, let's have a passing competition to see which one can throw it over the double T.
Yeah, that's good for their arms.
Yeah, great for their arms, right?
Right.
I want to see our kicker get it through the end zone every time, and our returner fair catch to the 25 every time. I will say this: it does drive me a little crazy when we're taking it out from the three deep in the end zone, and we get tackled at the 18-yard line. I mean, I feel like.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if you got playmakers back there,
yeah.
Okay, it's worth the risk. Okay, so if the risk is, or the gain is, hey, maybe we get a big return, electrifies the crowd. And I don't mean a big return like they got a score on it, but maybe you get out near the 45 and it, gives you a boost of momentum or whatever. So the biggest downside, you would assume, right? We're not running it out and getting tackled at the 3. That's a different deal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
But if you're taking it and running it out and you get tackled at the 17, 8 yards. Whoop-de-doo.
Okay.
It's not like you're backed up in your own end,
I know.
right?
No, I know.
The 25 to the 17 just doesn't feel like a big difference to me.
Okay.
So to me, in my opinion, there's a big
Risk
chance.
and reward there.
Yeah, the reward is
Okay.
much greater than the risk.
Okay.
So I'll take that every once in a while. Again, if you get tackled at the 7, you should have stayed in there. Okay,
Yeah.
but if you're at the 17 or 18, it's going to happen every once in a while. You give me a big return every, 3 or 4 games, I'll take that.
Okay. Brandon says that I'm the radio version of Uncle Rico with my football claims. Okay. If Kitley's offense is as advertised, take it out every time. I don't care where we start with the ball. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
I don't know every time. I mean, if you're backpedaling towards the back of the end zone, then you should probably just walk out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, just take a knee.
Yeah.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Nice to have you with us this morning here on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. You can weigh in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. We've gotten this earlier. It's a better story than what the truth is. This person says, Chuck, since you're the Cliff Clavin of the Morning Drive, that's the guy from Cheers, the postman, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good description of you.
I've got a story I need verification on. A friend told me that when Lubbock was going to build the road where the mall is located, there were houses in the way, so they brought in equipment to slide the homes over to make room for the road. The road was then named Slide Road. Any truth to the story? I thought maybe there was something new out. My understanding, and Clay wrote in as well, is that this was named for a town, and he said Slide Road is named for the community of Slide that exists south of Lubbock. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. But it'd be better if that was it.
I got to be honest with you. I did not know that for certain, but one day I drove down that way on Slide, and I saw that there's a town there called Slide, and I said, I bet you that's how this road got named.
Yeah. As opposed to Slide when they slid the homes over to make room for the mall. Okay. So they didn't.
Is that a rumor?
Yeah, I'd never heard that story.
Okay.
That's a good story. It's better than naming it after the community of Slide. We had to slide the homes over to make room for the mall, so we just said, this is Slide Road. We got to slid them over, so we slided them over.
Slided them?
Slide. Well, slid would be proper, right? Okay. I'm not going to go into the specifics, and usually I'm a person is innocent until proven guilty. Okay? 99.9% of the time I would say this. Very rarely do you see in the National Football League a team make a decision on a player based on some conduct when the outcome has yet to be decided or adjudicated. A lot of times you'll see teams, mine included, that have signed players where they knew there had been a despicable act. Now, that player may have already served his term or his punishment or something along those lines, but they still chose to sign him anyway because of his playing ability. Cowboys have done this numerous times. Numerous teams have done this. I'm not sure, and I'm sure that there's somewhere in the history of the National Football League that this has taken place, but I'm not sure in recent years, and I'm going to say, let's say within the last 10 to 20. So we've talked about Matt Ariza, who won the job as the Buffalo Bills punter. And he basically was known as the punt god. He was a draft choice for them. They brought him in, and he won it. Well, shortly thereafter, like late last week, it came out that he was accused of a rape that took place with him and two of his teammates.
Yeah, not just a rape.
Yeah, it was a gang rape.
Yeah.
Of a minor, okay, who apparently was under the influence. And I kind of gotten the impression that the Bills were unaware of this when they drafted him, and that Ariza wasn't necessarily forthcoming of this to the Bills.
Which makes sense.
There have been some that have been critical for the Bills for how long it took them to release him, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of times where football teams have said, well, we're going to wait until this case is adjudicated. You know, players got a right to, face his accuser, blah, 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 and kind of moved on down the road. In this particular case, the Bills general manager, Brandon Beane, said Saturday night, this is bigger than football. Let's just step back and let Ariza go handle this. That's what we thought was most important. He traveled with the team for their game against Carolina, but he was not on the sideline during the game, nor in the locker room. He did travel back to Buffalo on the team plane, but the coach thought it was best that he not play. So good for the coach. And I think from where I sit, and again, I got no skin in the game with the Buffalo Bills, I take my hat off to them for what they did and how they've handled this. Now, again, I may not know all the facts but my perception, Jamie, is that they've learned about this maybe in late July, maybe at the earliest, but didn't know that there was going to be a lawsuit filed against him, didn't know what was out there, didn't have all the facts of the story. They basically kind of got cold-cocked with this, so to speak. And when they learned about this, they made a decision to release Matt Ariza.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't that just the public found out this week and that's why they've reacted.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's not the case. I don't know if that was or not. I'm proud and happy that Buffalo's gotten rid of him. And I just, you know what, I the one thing that I didn't love was, well, let's let him go handle this. No, let's not get rid of him for him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of him because there have been horrible crimes committed here, okay? And the Bills have done enough of an investigation to realize probably, hey, this isn't going to just go away for him, and let's get rid of the guy. Let's not act like we're doing it for him. Let's act like we're doing it for the team in the league, okay? Mm-hmm. This isn't a guy we want representing us. Okay, so that was my one beef with the Bills. Although, again, I do wonder what they've known since July or whatever. Was all of a sudden a decision made because the public found out? So I'm somewhere in the middle of where you are, and it is my favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I found out about it last week, I'm like, I can't wait for Buffalo to get rid of this guy. Okay, can't wait. And I guess the Bills did enough of an investigation to realize, to asking the right people to realize, hey, he's going to face punishment here. Okay, otherwise you're going to back your guy. And so I feel like the Bills were, at that point, quick in making their decision.
Apparently there was an initial story by the LA Times published June the 3rd connecting 5 current or former San Diego State football players to a rape. The follow-up story, including more of the person's account for this, was published on July the 29th. So that's well after the draft.
Yeah.
It's just there's a part of me that's like, okay, so with all the investigation that the NFL does of players, they didn't know about this, or maybe they didn't. Maybe Ariza had made comments to the fact, well, this was, his involvement was limited or wasn't involved or something along the lines where they felt good enough about drafting him, because usually you don't draft a punter.
Right. Well, he was the punt god. Yeah.
Right.
So
he was selected.
It sounds like he was a major player in this accusation.
No doubt.
And this wasn't not just one-on-one. This was somebody that was drugged.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like. Okay, that's what he's accused of. And then she was taken to the boys to have fun. Go have your fun. I mean, that's incredibly, incredibly sick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, you want to tell me that you want anything to do with that on your roster? I mean, whether I just no way. Just no way.
And I don't know why there wasn't apparently the criminal investigation is ongoing. I don't know why there hasn't been arrests or indictments or things along those lines. My only point of this whole thing is that, generally speaking, NFL teams haven't done what the Bills did.
Agreed.
Generally speaking, you don't hear of an NFL team who has a player that has ability, okay, that they don't cut a guy based on.
A lot of times you're just like, well, okay, well, if Ariza will just pay this girl, this will go away.
Deshaun Watson.
This will go away,
Yeah.
and there will be no criminal charges, and there'll be nothing to this story, and we can still have our player. But again, if you're the Bills, I mean, that's not a dude you want representing you.
Yeah. And, somebody says this, don't leave out the fact the victim was a minor. We did mention that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to me, I mean, whether it's a minor or, I mean, certainly that any aspect of this is heinous, right? Any aspect of this, regardless of age. So, again, my main point on this was more the fact that usually teams say, well, we're going to wait, we're going to let the authorities handle things, or we're going to let this play out in the judicial system. The Bills just said, no. You could say that there was public pressure on them, sure, but at least they took action.
Sure, I agree.
I'm not going to give them a standing ovation, but I'll at least say I'll tip my hat to them for taking care of it after they'd already made a decision on their punter. So this was not during training camp. This was after they had said, you're our guy.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.